you may choose to do this. I don't do this so much anymore. I used to all the time, back when I got started. But I just want to show you it's an option. Since I started this on the sandpaper, I'm going to go ahead and finish it on the sandpaper. That way I don't have a height adjustment and it's all the same. This thing, you know, isn't the most accurate thing in the world, but it's not too bad. You'll have to get used to it. You always want to try to get towards the center, but I actually like the one I did better. It's pretty accurate. I used just a box for, I don't know, 10 years. I don't typically take my girdle to a really, really good polish. Alright. Back to the beginning.
Alright, as you can tell, I cut some of them out so you wouldn't have to sit here too long and just watch repetition.
Alright, you know, if you're using paper, you would go to a finer emery. I'm going to get back to the diamond powders because I don't want this to go on forever. I just do one of my standards. Now, this has got backlash. I don't know if you're a machinist, you know what that means, but you need to go down below where you were and start going back up. Notice I turned a while before it started to move. So you can only adjust in the direction you're cutting. Like if I overdid it here, I would want to go back down, not just a little bit, and then start going back up until I get to about where I want to be. So I'm going to be adjusting up. I like that. Now I like to use a this lap's already been charged with 8,000. We're going to take a look at it here and see how it does. A lot of times I use a diamond slurry, but I don't think I should have to on glass. But we'll look. Ooh, that's shiny. We'll finish her off here. I got to go all the way around again. But you know, if you're doing something like a ruby or something, you're going to be using diamond the whole way through, and probably more of a diamond slurry. But this is glass, so it's different. You can come up with many ways of doing it. You can use an oxide polish here. I used to use tin oxide all the time. But I'm getting used to just using diamond for everything I can. Shouldn't take long. Shouldn't take long. Let's get around this thing. Oops, didn't tighten her up. Like I say, that little handle is pretty handy.
You probably you probably noticed that the I have a little handle on there rather than using the Allen wrenches. It kind of magically appeared there. I must have cut the portion of the video where I explained that out. Just something I made. I used glue, a handle, and I went ahead and fastened it to a set screw that goes into that.
I'm never really that particular on my
into that head. Now,
on my girdle,
that set screw,
Notice I didn't measure it
unfortunately, is
either.
a little
I'm not really
special.
going for a
It's
certain
quarter
size.
28 with a brass
But if I was, I
insert
would
at the
have
one end. So it's kind of hard to
set
go
it
out
up
to the
to
hardware store
start
and
cutting away
find,
until I got to
you
where
know,
I
some
wanted
sort
to
of
be.
handle to fit in there. So I just wanted to let you guys know I'm using that now to speed things up, and it works pretty good.
It shouldn't take that long. If it starts taking a while, you need to kind of think about what you're doing and figure it out. Like I said earlier that I like to get to the copper laps as quickly as possible, because if I wanted to go to a finer grit, maybe a 14, this is 8,000, I could just flop the laps out, and maybe with no shim adjustment, or maybe with just a slight shim adjustment, I'm ready to keep on going. Of course, you're not going to see that in this case because I'm not going to go any more than this 8,000 on the girdle, because I cut most of it away anyhow. And this is the last one.
You can probably tell I removed a few of these also.
Alright. Besides being a little dirty, we'll zoom in on this. So we're pretty good. We're not bad. Okay, in my transition to the next one, which is going to be at 42 degrees, I just want to show you something real quick. Let's say we were in the, I'm going to call this the 60-degree range. That's where we end up with a few little issues on this machine. It's hard to reach. The thick shim you get is for 90, and of course you always cut off the glass if you can, because that'll be your most accurate cut. But there's many fastening diagrams that require, you know, the 60-70 range, and you end up being up in the air. Now you can lower this down, but you're still going to need lots of shims. And of course, you know, if you get up there in shims, then it becomes less accurate. So this is actually pretty handy in that case, because you can lower it. I'm just guessing on this. That's about what it looks like. Back to these pieces of glass I showed you. Okay. Well, I must be wrong, because usually it's in that area. But anyway, you can adjust it in the 60 range. I'm not so sure if I've ever cut anything in the 50s, but you can get there. 60, you know, looks a little bit different. It's hard to get there on the flat surface. You always have to shim it. So let's say you prop this up in the air, leave this there, set your angle at just 60, and then you can get to it. This one doesn't actually have a 60 degree, but I wanted to point that out.
You can also get a piece of wood or whatever else for your one thick shim to get to that 60 degree.
I do a couple different methods on this. If I just freshly make a slurry on here, I might not wipe it off. This one was pre-charged, no slurry, and I'm going to wipe it off. Sometimes if I don't wipe it off and I finish my stone I'm working on and I change stones, I'll definitely wipe it off before I go to a different material.
Keep in mind, probably every other faceter would have you clean everything perfectly clean as best as you can